the alliance, and it's part of the collective security which the alliance is built on. We have close dialogue with Turkey. The situation is evolving, so I'm quite confident that Turkey feel that NATO is standing behind them and that we are working together with Turkey to help Turkey defend itself against any threat.
Expecting Turkey to conduct a cross-border operation unilaterally to help save Kobani from being seized by Islamic State is unrealistic. Turkish Foreign Minister Mevlut Cavusoglu said at the same news conference on Thursday. Turkish troops have sat on the sidelines as Islamic State militants have fought to gain control of Kobani, a town that is largely populated by Kurds, who also constitutes large minorities in Turkey and Iraq. Analysts and U.S. officials said Turkey's hesitance to commit its military, NATO's second largest, to save Kobani, reflects a fear of emboldening and empowering its own Kurdish population, which has long sought greater autonomy. The result is a standoff between two NATO allies as a militant group that has overrun large parts of Iraq and Syria this year appeared close to seizing Kobani this week.
Now, as investigations by Dutch experts continue in order to establish exactly how Malaysia flight MH370 was downed, Dutch Foreign Minister Frans Timmermans has confirmed that one of the 298 people killed was found wearing an oxygen mask. He indicated that not everybody on board had died instantly when the plane was hit by a missile. An initial report said the flight broke up in midair after being pierced by objects at high velocity. Mr. Timmermans has now said he regrets the remarks that he made earlier on, which upset the families of the deceased. Well, in other news, he might have been accused of orchestrating the 2007 ethnic violence which led to the deaths of 1,200 people, but he's been welcomed home in Kenya after his appearance at the International Criminal Court. That's the ICC in The Hague. Mr. Kenyatta attended a hearing at the ICC yesterday, becoming the first serving head of state to appear there. He's denied the earlier charges of crimes against humanity.
After having appeared before the International Criminal Court to face allegations of orchestrating a wave of deadly post-election violence back in 2007, he is back home in Kenya. Thousands of Kenyans went to Jomo Kenyatta International Airport on Thursday, while others lined the streets to welcome home their leader. Kenyatta left the airport while waving to his supporters who followed his convoy, which was expected to take a longer route to his office in order to pass by the well-wishers. He denies charges of acting as an indirect co-perpetrator in crimes including murder, deportation or forcible transfer, rape, persecution, and other inhumane acts. Prosecutors have accused Kenyan authorities of refusing to hand over bank and phone records, obstructing the case, which has faced a series of delays since it was launched 5 years ago. A defense attorney for President Kenyatta has called on judges to throw out the allegations, saying prosecutors had failed to prove their case after 5 years of investigations.
The case had to terminate.
The legal impasse is unprecedented in international law. Judges adjourned the hearings and are expected to make a decision about the trial's future before the end of the year. Kenyatta is the first sitting head of state to answer a summon to the ICC, established 11 years ago to prosecute individuals for serious crimes when domestic courts are unwilling or unable to do so. The case is seen as a major test of the ICC, which has secured only 2 convictions since it was set up.
Now to Asia. Just when we thought the government of Hong Kong and the demonstrators had come to a compromise, the government has called off a meeting which was scheduled to hold with the demonstrators tomorrow. According to the Chief Secretary, Carrie Lam, it would be impossible to have a constructive dialogue. after protest leaders called for an increase in efforts to occupy main protest areas. The protesters want a fully free vote in elections due to be held in 2017 for the post of chief executive. Last week, thousands of demonstrators paralyzed parts of the city, but mass demonstrations have largely subsided in recent days.
It's very clear that the responsibility to put forward a so-called solution to the present situation is on the government. That talking about all these constitutional legal issues may not be able to lead to any feasible solution to resolve the existing situation. And it must be the responsibility of the government, and only the government can provide the solution to the present situation. Well, we'll continue. That, again, that remember what has caused the people to come out. It's not out of a core of the Federation of Students, the Scholarsm, or Occupy Central. It's because of the tear gas. It's because of the government failing to respond to the demands of people for universal suffrage, and the people are out there.
For more on what's happening in Hong Kong, I'm now being joined live by the Voice of America's Daniel Sheff via telephone. He's in Hong Kong. Daniel, thank you so much for joining us on The World Today. We appreciate your time. Now, why exactly have these talks been called off?
Yes, the talks were called off, unfortunately, because the government decided that the pressure that the student-led demonstrators were going to bring to bear on them was inappropriate. And so they have decided that they're not going to hold direct talks with them, that they feel that the student and other protest leaders have gone too far. And the student protest leaders had a press briefing just recently saying that they felt that this was an excuse, that the government never intended to talk with them seriously in the first place. So it's raised a lot of tensions between the two sides, and it's going to be very difficult for them to actually sit down at the table in the future. And we'll have to see where these demonstrations go.
Now, Daniel, based on what you're seeing, have demonstrations actually subsided as we are getting reports of right now?
Yes, they have actually slowed down quite a bit in the last week compared to the first week of the demonstrations, when we saw tens of thousands of people on the streets. During the day here, there are only a matter of a few hundred protesters who are actually out at the three different sites within the central areas of Hong Kong. But towards the evening, as people get off work, those numbers do swell. We start to see people more in the thousands. And now that they've called for this larger rally, this increase in support tomorrow afternoon here in Hong Kong, it will be a test to see exactly how much support there is for these demonstrations continuing, and whether or not they can really bring pressure to bear on the government of Hong Kong.
And finally, Daniel, now that the talks have been cancelled, what do you anticipate will happen? Is this just going to be a case of probably adding fuel to fire?
Well, certainly that's the big question. Is this going to be a move that will dissipate the protest movement, or is it something that will actually inflame it and make people want to support it and be out on the streets even more? It's not clear at this point. I think tomorrow is when we're really going to get a sense of how much support there really is among the people of Hong Kong to see these demonstrations continue, or are they upset with the disruptions to their daily life, the traffic, business, these kind of things, which can certainly add up and cause a lot of consternation in the society. So we'll have to see tomorrow exactly where the protest movement is headed, and whether or not they're going to be able to bring the pressure that they want on the government, so that they can have what they call a more genuine democracy, direct election of their leaders, and for the chief executive to step down.
Daniel, thank you so much for speaking with us. We appreciate your time. I've been speaking to the Voice of America's Daniel Sheff, and he's been talking to us from Hong Kong, filling us in on what's happening there concerning the protests. We'll take a break now on The World Today. When we come back, we'll bring you updates around the world concerning the Ebola virus disease. Please stay with us.
In a warming world, there could be an even greater threat of extreme weather than previously thought. Every Friday, Channels takes you on a journey to see the effect of human activity